Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy. Welcome to Dungeoneered, highlighting your player-made houses and dungeons in EverQuest II. Now, I know for about 3 weeks now I've said I'd get back to dungeons, but I just really wanted to get to show my house, which I planned to do earlier, and I thought this would be a great time. This is going to serve as kind of a before and after snapshot of my home. So, you know, because it's a work in progress. It's not finished. It's been a long time being made, and even though it's one of the smallest homes you can get, as you'll see. Now, I would show the before and after, and I might just show the after, or the before after. But here it is. This is my home I've been working on forever, and it's kind of funny because it's like the smallest house you can get. This is on the Qeynos side. You can get a Freeport. You can get the Freeport side. It's a small 2-room as well, just in a different style. So as you can see, there's my kitchen area. I put a few books up here. Player made. Just a banner. This is actually a stand you can actually sell some wares from. Limited. I mostly bought that for the looks, not for the function. I might move this heater, and I've been working on this. This is kind of special to me. I've been wanting to make like a map room or a navigator's room. The idea came from how a lot of sailors or captains, people always have kind of those fancy navigation rooms in their homes. You know, they have the ships in a bottle, you know, on a desk, or a ship wheel up on the wall, and so, you know, and some maps of the sea and stuff. That was kind of the idea behind this. And this took forever to do. I did use the layout editor, which if nobody knows what that is, I'll be covering that in a future episode of Dungeoneered. But it took forever to get 3 maps on this tilted desk, and it's still not perfect, as you can see. You know, the illusion is broken, and you can see the errors when you look closely at it. And especially if you turn on a certain type of lighting effect on the game, for some reason a weird, perfectly square bit of light will appear in the middle of one of these maps, which kind of breaks the immersion. But this one area, the kitchen, probably took the longest, just because there's so many bits and pieces. As you can see, I didn't get too crazy with decorating as far as like combining furniture to make new pieces of furniture. Most of my furniture is basically used the way it was intended, or just by itself, like the barrels of food and the fish and the bottles on the wall. And you know, I did take a bit of lit wood. Got a small little graphic error there. A small bit of lit wood, which looked like this wood down here, only it's burning. So I shrunk it down as almost as small as I could, and I very carefully, for a lot of trial and error, squished it into the stove to make it look like the oven was lit. And of course, this room doesn't normally have a divider. I got this idea from another player called Mmorpg, and I will be showing their house in the near future because it's really amazing, and it's an awesome example of not only what you can do, how you can push decorating in such a small space. It also on one side shows just how awesome you can make a room look with the furniture the way it is, and Mmorpg also kind of shows just how awesome you can get with the imagination of making such a small space look entirely different. But this is a room divider I used, and I sized it appropriately and put it in. And then, like Mmorpg, I loved the idea of having this end cap, which is a a plain briarwood hitching post that I made really, really big and then positioned in there to make it look like an end cap to the wall divider. And it looks really good, I think. I have little bits of food over here. You can actually take an apple. You know, my little eating area. Here's a little place to wash your hands or whatever, and some towels to dry your hands with after you eat or cook and wash your hands. This bookshelf doesn't have any actual books on it. It's just for looks. And the second room here is largely unfinished. It's just got a few things. The crowning achievement here for me is this, which I used a lot of different pieces and tried to be creative with using pieces of furniture to get a different look. For instance, these are pristine standard maple tables. I took a whole bunch of them. That's what this grayish looking border is. I took a whole bunch of these, overlapped them. Then I took a few of these Freeport wooden counters, which is that wooden look in front, and I also covered up this end cap here with it, and you know, squished them together to make it look like it was enclosed. Then there's tiles I used, plain briarwood tiles. I think I have 3 of them. I think I enlarged 3 of them and just butted them up side by side. I think if you look really closely you can see one of the seams here. And then this little stairway here is just some blocks, crude stone blocks, 3 of them. And I wanted to make a little work area, so that's kind of the idea behind this. Put up my weapons and a little weapon rack. Here's my mannequin, and this is my trade school apprentice, of course. And when I get, I'm a carpenter. When I get a carpentry table, I'm actually going to move my apprentice towards me a little closer, or towards the mannequin a little more, and then I'm going to resize the carpentry table so it will fit in the corner there, or on the end here. And I have this, of course, this segment of a fence, which is what it's supposed to look like. And I'm not even sure yet of what I'm going to do with the rest of the room. These wall dividers here were just kind of an experiment to maybe turn this into a bedroom. As you can see, I started trying some things out here. I'm not sure I want to keep them using wall dividers, and I could maybe even throw a door on there, but then the top part of the door would be open air, so I'm not sure yet. I'll figure it out though. That's part of the fun of housing in EverQuest II. It's just, I mean, your imagination can go crazy. And like I said, in a future episode I'm going to cover another 2-room Qeynos Inn by showing off Naox, and Naox really pushes the envelope with such a small space, not only with using almost the limit of how many spaces how many pieces of furniture you're allowed to use, by just throwing stuff everywhere, and not really, you know, on one hand using the items the way they're intended, and on the other hand Naox shows just how different you can make part of the area look by utilizing all kinds of items and using items in combination. There's my cat, Mikan. He likes to, or she likes to roam around and sleep everywhere. So that's going to do it for this edition of Dungeoneered. I just wanted to show off my house, and I'll probably much later, when I finally get around to finishing it off, and I'm not even done with this whole room, let alone the other room. I'll come back to it as I kind of an after image. But if you want to get a hold of me, find me on Twitter. I'm at Jeremy_Stratton. I'm on Google, Jeremy Stratton. You can also find me on my blog, Just One More, spelled MMORE.com. And all those links will be in the description below. Also look for my other 2 new shows. One's called User, that comes out every Saturday, featuring player-made or user-generated content among many MMOs. So I'll be covering different features like the Mission Architect in City of Heroes, or parts of the Foundry in Star Trek Online. Anything user-generated content. And then, of course, Sundays is Tellin' Times, which covers anything and everything Vanguard Saga of Heroes, and that's a lot of fun to watch the progress and the news leak out of that, because Sony's preparing to make it free to play in the summer. So, and then of course next Friday will be another episode of Dungeoneered. So you have a whole weekend of videos that I'm making that you could watch. So I'll see you guys next week.